This is John Colo with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and this one has been one that has been requested by some of the viewers out there to test the all-new 2026 release of Hurom's brand new juicer. This is their H80 machine, aka H80 ST, because it has a stainless steel juicing screen. This is like the original juicing technology that came out over 20 years ago now on the first Hurom vertical auger juicer. Hasn't changed much since then, except that now the machine has a hopper so that it pre-cuts and feeds in the produce so that you don't have to. If you guys want to see the full unboxing of the Hurom H80, I'll put a link down below so you can learn all about it. And we're going to compare that to Tribest's latest juicer to come out. And yes, Tribest is the company that is known for the Green Star twin gear juicers. That was their claim to fame way back in the day. Also way back in the day, they came out the Slowstar and the Slowstar juicers. And now in late 2025, December actually, they came out with the Slowstar AI machine. And this is the latest and greatest Tribest machine that has artificial intelligence to some extent built in, because this machine with a DC motor, commercial grade, will sense the type of produce you put in, speed up or slow down the auger to juice it at the most appropriate rate. And what Tribest says is to get the highest yield, up to 15% more than quote-unquote other juicers, and they don't really explain what the other juicers are. So while this has a number of presets that you can press that has been optimized to juice those specific items, there's also an AI mode button, which is the button that I use the most when juicing, and that will basically allow the machine to auto-sense what you put in there, slow down or speed up to get it juiced at the appropriate rate. And the claim to fame of this machine, besides having that hopper, just like the Hurom H80 does, this has a stainless steel chopping blade, and then it takes this machine up a notch because this is also an easy, clean design that you don't need to sit there with a scrub brush and scrub the holes clean of the juicer when you're done. So this machine takes me 80 to 90 seconds to clean, and this machine over here takes me 4 to 5 minutes to clean. That being said, I have to let you guys know that the Hurom H80 is Hurom's first home model that is 100% dishwasher safe for all the juicer parts. So this can make cleaning a lot easier for most of you guys. Although that being said, with the juicing screen, I still recommend you pre-scrub some of the stuck-in pulp, because even a dishwasher spraying high-pressure water will not get it clean. So yeah, in this episode, we're going to go ahead and dive deep, compare these two machines so that you guys know which one you may want to purchase between these two high-end models by both Hurom and Tribest. Alright, so before I go on, I need to let you guys know that the Slowstar AI was one of my best juicers for 2026 picks. Links down below to that video so you guys could watch it, where I discuss why the Slowstar AI was one of my two favorite juicers for 2026, right? And I know a lot of you guys may already own a juicer that has a standard juicing screen, and if it is serving you well, you like it, you don't have any problems with it, continue using it, right? I know we all want to be protective and, and say like, what we bought in the past is really good, but you know what? Here's the thing, guys, technology changes. That being said, you don't always have to get the greatest and latest upgraded technology if the technology you have is serving you. Plenty of you guys have old iPhones. I just got my mom an iPhone SE 3rd generation, came out in like 2022, right? She doesn't need the latest iPhone. Some of you guys don't need the latest juicer. That being said, there are those of you guys out there that need the latest juicer. Why? Because if you bought a screen-based juicer, such as the Hurom H80 or any of the other models that are out there, because basically most of them are a screen-based juicer, and you don't use it, you find yourself not using it because you hate the cleaning process, right? And so you don't juice as much as you want to or should be to get the health benefits of all the different phytochemicals and phytonutrients, vitamins and minerals, polyphenols in the vegetables, leafy greens, and especially some of the fruits out there, right? That's why the Easy Clean design will allow you to juice more, because it makes the whole process, not just with the hopper, but also because the cleaning is so much easier. And that's what I really want for you guys. I want you guys to juice more often, more regularly, so you guys could get the benefits of more fruits and vegetables in your diet, which most Americans are deficient in. And before I go on, I want to show you guys a special promotion that is going on right now, right? And you could save twice as much right now on the Slowstar AI if you guys are ready to upgrade. Right now, you could save $120 off the Slowstar AI. Between July 26th and August 1st, Tribest is running their promotion, and you guys could use my coupon code DJ. That will save you guys 20% off, which is $120 off, which is the most savings you guys are going to find on the Slowstar AI, maybe aside from Black Friday coming up in many months from now. But yeah, $120 off will basically bring this machine under $480 for you guys right now. If you guys miss this promotion, don't worry, my coupon code DJ will still save you an amazing $60 off the Slowstar AI, so you could have one of my 2 favorite best juicers of 2026. That being said, if you guys want the latest and greatest model from Hurom, I also have negotiated with Hurom the best deal for you. And you guys want to make sure you guys use the coupon code FITCLEAN. We'll throw up right there at Hurom.com. This will save you a minimum of 10% off the Hurom H80 or any of the other Hurom juicers that they offer. My most favorite feature of the H80 personally is the fit and clean port on the Pulp outlet. Basically, you just remove this and you could easily clean it out, clear any jams that may be happening if you don't properly pre-cut your produce. And that's why the coupon code is FITCLEAN, because this has a new FITCLEAN, and I hope Hurom introduces the FITCLEAN pulp ejection port on more juicers in the future. And I want to thank you guys who have used my coupon code in the past or will use it in the future, because it allows me to continue to make these educational videos for you guys, buy my produce, pay my light bill, pay my amazing video editor, so I can make these videos for you guys and show you guys the truth about what happens when you juice equivalent amounts of produce in different style juicers. Also show you guys my expert opinions and reviews of each of the machines so that you can make the best choice. And if I've helped you out, hey, help me out by using one of those coupon codes. Not only will you get the lowest price, but also, of course, the companies will share me a small portion of the sale so I can continue to do this work that I love so much. So thank you. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and dive deep and compare these 2 machines, what makes them similar and also what makes them different. You can see they're a similar height. I mean, they're both kind of a similar style footprint. This is kind of more rectangular and boxy, and this is more of a teardrop shaped design. But the main difference is, of course, aside from the electronic control there, the DC brushless motor, this has a traditional AC motor that is time proven, running at a constant 50 RPM, whereas the Slowstar AI will automatically adjust based on what you're juicing, anywhere it's from 32 RPM up to 60. Anyways, the juicing parts is really what set these 2 machines apart. So let's go ahead and dive deep and compare them so that you guys can better understand how each of these machines work. All right, so as you guys can see, these are the hoppers here, and we're gonna go ahead and pull off the hopper on the H80 first and pull off the hopper on the Slowstar AI. So the hopper is a lot more, more wide and squat on the Hurom H80. This is the largest hopper on any Hurom juicer, 2.2 liters. And on the Slowstar AI, this has a 1.5 liter hopper. To open this, there's a really easy trigger button. You just press this down and it's basically spring loaded and it pops up. So that's nice. It goes back this far. Whereas on the Hurom H80, you basically need to get your finger underneath there and pop it up, and then it actually goes back a little bit further. And if you guys see this hopper, we could almost fit it inside the Hurom hopper because it is a little bit more narrow. Now, the main difference between these hoppers is that this is actually not a hopper at all. It's simply just a tube. So this does make cleaning easier because you can kind of access it from the bottom or the top to clean it out. Whereas on the Hurom, this is a hopper with a processing blade at the bottom. I do like that this is a one-piece hopper. This also has our all-new 3D spiral blade that is said to work better than the previous processing blades because it's like a 3D design and is a bit more aggressive and meant to kind of chop things up like a scissors instead of just a knife. And then also you have a couple notches in the bowl here that helps to you know, get things down in through this little hole here in the bottom. And I do like that they've kind of improved this to kind of ensure that the produce kind of drops in there more effectively than on previous models. So yeah, that's some of the main upgrades on the H80 is with this actual juicing bowl itself. And I can't really say much about the Tribest because it's just really a tube. They probably did this to avoid any patent infringements on a hopper, because technically this is not a hopper, it's just a tube. And that's where it gets interesting, because once you put this two together, then if you look down in there, now it is a hopper. Because on the top of the auger, there's basically a base plate, which acts as the bottom of the hopper, and then you have a stainless steel chopping blade versus, once again, the plastic chopping blade. So honestly, I mean, I do like the stainless steel blade. It is more durable. This does have a pretty aggressive kind of rake on it, and it is a bit more fatter and wide, so it's rare that I impale things like on previous Hurom models. And then the thing is that this just has kind of a standard cutout on the bottom. It doesn't look like any major special shape to me. So yeah, that's how this one works. Basically, these two parts come together to make a hopper. And next up, we have the traditional juicing parts. And these juicing parts, guys, right, literally Hurom invented over 20 years ago now in their first Hurom vertical juicer. They were the first slow juicer out there, actually, the Hurom H100, or also sold in the USA as the Omega Vert 330 machine, right? It had a similar design such as this. It had a wiping blade. Basically, they had to squeegee off the juicing screen to kind of get the juice to come out. And so this is once again another part to clean. Pulp and juice can't get stuck between these little silicone blades that are removable, that you should remove every so often, or you will find kind of mold growth underneath there. And then also two juice stains will be staining all these little gear holes that drive this spinner at 17 RPM compared to the 50 RPM of the main auger. Also to remind you guys, most people don't think of this, but as this is running, this is just another way that more juice, more air can be put into your juice, especially if you keep your spout cap closed, right? So this will add a little bit more air into the juice, which can oxidize it. Of course, now you have your stainless steel juicing screen. Now, you will need to use a brush when you're done to basically unclog the holes, because if you have pulp stuck in the holes that dries, then the holes will no longer work to extract juice in following subsequent juicing sessions. Okay, and then you have your standard juicing auger. Has been improved a little bit over other designs with a few different notches and cutouts at the top to make it more aggressive, to get produce to drop in there. What happens is the produce basically drops in between the auger and the juicing screen. This is spinning around, and the produce is basically works like a screw down, and then basically is crushed and squeezed into a smaller particle size. The juice, of course, flows out of the screen and then out through the bowl, out of this oversized juice spout, which I do like a lot because it's a lot easier to clean. And then the pulp comes out, once again, that fit and clean port here. That's easy to remove, easy to clean, and easy to unclog should you need to. So that's how the H80 works, right? Now over to the Slowstar AI. How does this one work, right? So this one works, instead of having a traditional juicing screen, this has a screen-like device, but it has no screen. It just has these like larger slits. And when you put these larger slits into the bowl that has these tines coming up, it kind of basically puts it together kind of like this. And then it makes these smaller slits on either side. So instead of now having holes, now you have long slits that the juice comes out of as the produce is getting ground up between the auger and the basically, I don't want to call it a juicing stream, but the juicing apparatus, right? And now the interesting thing about the Slowstar AI compared to the Hurom, right, and this is an important point that I've noticed does make a difference, is the run. A lot of you guys know what a run is, like if you guys are into, you know, different kind of cars and whatnot, or basically it's how much time does the auger process the produce. So you guys can see the auger run on the Slowstar is like this long, and if we look on the Hurom H80, it is literally like not quite half, but maybe a little bit longer than half of the run. So what does this mean? That means there's more time overall, the produce as it goes in, it's getting chop, 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 squeezed, ejected, right? And this is getting chop, chop, ejected, right? And the longer the run, right, and the more effectively the juicer is designed on that run, the more the produce can get ground down into a finer particle size, and the finer particle size it gets ground down to, that means the more cell walls are blown open and the more juice is exposed and comes out of the machine. So, you know, that is why a longer juicer run in a properly designed screen apparatus can be quite beneficial, right? So, you know, that's why I believe, and we'll see in a minute, the Slowstar has been performing as good as, in my tests previously, and maybe even some cases better than traditional design machines. But how will it do in this case? Well, we'll see in a minute. But, you know, in my off-camera tests, because I've been testing this basically every single time I juice for my personal consumption, you know, I've been impressed on how dry the pulp is and how well it grinds and extracts the juice. And of course, on this machine, once again, the juice comes out of the bowl and is released here. And then the pulp comes out over on this side, and instead of having a fit and clean thing, you gotta basically unpop this, and then this pops open so you can get in there and clean it rather easily, right? So yeah, that's how these ones work. So once again, when you're done with this machine, you have 3 parts to clean. You gotta spray down that, this, and this. Also, of course, this part is very easy to clean, whereas once again, it takes me 80 to 90 seconds. This part, kind of a lot of stuff gets kind of clogged in here, so I just spray it down with high pressure water. Don't even scrub it. Whereas on this machine, you could, you know, scrub down the auger, and definitely you got to scrub down the screen, top and bottom, and I do inside and out. And then you have the juicing bowl and the top part. And because of the scrubbing down and making sure all the holes are clean when you're done, once again, takes me 4 to 5 minutes. And this, I see, is the major stoppage point for so many people that want to juice, right? The hopper juicers are great. They do make juicing easier because no longer do you have to sit there and push each produce item in. But now juicing has changed and is now getting even easier due to the easy, clean design that, in my opinion, has now basically caught up in the performance as the stainless steel tried and true design, right? I have one of the original screenless designs. I have to get it out for you guys one of these days from some Chinese company, and they're like, there's a new design, and like it worked horribly, but it was a good thought, right? And now this technology has caught up. It has improved significantly, especially now coupled with the, you know, DC motor that can auto sense the produce to basically get the extraction, the highest yield. So like now we got a longer run, but also now you have a slower running auger that runs that produce down even slower along the gear to get a higher extraction, right? This is what some of the features of the Slowstar AI that no other influencer will tell you, because all the other influencers for the most part are still promoting screen-based juicers, right? Nobody's testing the Slowstar AI like I am, because I want you guys to have the best information to make the best choice so that you guys buy the best juicer for you, and so that you will use it more often and you and your family could get the health benefits from the juice, right? I've been juicing now for the last 31 years. I started my business over 25 years ago now with the sole motivation to, number one, save people and get the people the lowest price on the juicers so that they can afford to juice. And number two, educate people about the differences in juicers so that they could find the right one that they will stick with and use instead of end up at a tag sale. It kind of saddens me. There's, you know, for some of my friends over the years that have gotten married, I often give them a juicer. And I'm like, hey, you guys still using that juicer? No, we sold at a tag sale. I'm like, oh, all right. Maybe I should have given them the Slowstar AI. So easy, they'd still be using it today. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble these machines. They're both very easy to assemble, but of course the Slowstar AI is even easier. Just take the screenless screen, drop it in, take the auger, drop it in. There's nothing to line up. And then you can take the tube, the cylinder, and then lock this on. The cool thing about this is that you could put it on either direction. So if you put it on this direction, right, your juicing spout is over on this side. And if you put it on the backwards direction, which is this direction, right, now your juicing spout comes out over on this side. So depending on your setup at your house, if you're right or left-handed, I do like the feature of being able to reverse where the juice comes out and where the pulp comes out, because on the Hurom H80 you do not have such an option. So on this machine you take the wiping blade, shove the screen in there, you then have the large cutout, a small cutout, you align that with the large cutout and the small cutout on the bowl, you drop that in, make sure it gets fully seated, you take the auger, you drop the auger in, make sure it's fully seated, and then finally you take the hopper, and then you just basically line this up like this and then lock it in place so that these two handles are lined up. I will say that I do like the two handles on the bowl and the hopper, because should you put in ginger that's not pre-cut properly or celery not pre-cut properly, what happens is the auger will jack up and then cause these machines to kind of be forced up, and then you need to have a nice grip on it so you could separate it out. Whereas on the Slowstar AI, you have a handle on the top, but then you can't really get a grip good on the bottom. You got to grip with two hands, but then you got to grip this. So it's a bit more difficult should you, you know, not pre-cut produce properly and get it locked up. So I do like that about the Hurom H80. All right, a few other things I want to mention about each machine. Of course, both these machines have a full 15-year warranty on not only the juicer parts, but also on the juicer motor. In my opinion, the Hurom juicer motor is very unlikely to fail. Hurom's been making motors and selling their juicers with motors, and the motors rarely ever fail. You know, if anything fails, it's gonna be the parts. And on the Hurom H80, it's a full 15-year warranty. Meanwhile, over on the Slowstar AI, you know, the parts seem to be fairly durable. I haven't broken anything on it, but in my opinion, the weak point may just be the DC motor, which is basically new to the market, whereas Hurom is making juicers with AC motors for over 20 years in vertical juicers. New DC motor with a controller board, and now all the electronics to run the touch screen and all this stuff. So far, so good. That being said, this machine is made in China. Once again, still does have a 15-year warranty, engineered in the US with Tribest USA, whereas this machine is solely made in South Korea with a full 15-year warranty. Now, I do need to also mention the runtime. The runtime on the Hurom H80 is 30-minute continuous. After 30 minutes, you know, they say you should like shut it off and let it rest for another 30 minutes before you start using it again. And on the Slowstar AI, the runtime as printed in the manual is 15 minutes, which seems rather short to me. I questioned the CEO about this, and he says that's basically rated with, you know, like the hardest task on this machine, which maybe be like frozen fruit sorbet, when the frozen fruit is quite hard, because that does put more torque on the motor. That being said, I've used a Slowstar AI regularly over 1 hour, you know, juicing my green juices. I made actually 5 or 6 quarts the other day without any incident in the Slowstar AI. So if you want to make, you know, batches in the Slowstar AI, I'm confident in this. That being said, if you guys want to do tons of juice, right, I'd probably recommend the tried and true H80 AC motor. Probably gonna be a bit more durable for like longer use. That being said, of course, both these machines are home juicers, and if you're looking for a commercial juicer, then you want to step up to the Hurom CP50 Link down below to that video where I review that machine that has a 24-hour runtime. So with that, next step I want to do is we're going to go ahead and do sound testing on both machines to see how loud these juicers are when running. Unlike a high-speed juicer that can run in excess of 10,000 RPM that customers have described to me in the past as an airplane taking off in their kitchen, these machines run at a very low RPM. So whether you're juicing in the morning before the rest of your family is up, or you live in an apartment building with super thin walls, right, you'll be able to juice, and not disturb anyone. All right, so we got the new decibel meter out, and first we're going to go ahead and check out the Hurom H80. I'm seeing between 61 to 66 decibels on the meter. Next up, let's go ahead and check out the Slowstar AI. All right, we're seeing 54 to 56. Of course, that is running in the Celery mode. That is running at the lower 32 RPMs. So this machine is definitely more quiet. Of course, it also has a DC brushless motor, which typically are known to be more quiet than AC motors. All right, guys, so I think it's about that time. We're gonna go ahead and juice even amounts of celery in both these machines. So let's go ahead and get a weigh-in done, and let's get juicing. All right, guys, so I've weighed out and chopped even amounts of celery into about 1-inch pieces. We got 13089, 13089. Looks like we got a fair fight, so let's get juicing. All right, guys, so to have a fair and even fight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and load up both hoppers with all the celery. I'm not sure if I could fit all the celery in each of the hoppers, but I'm going to fill it up as max as I can, and then I'm just going to go ahead and manually feed in as the machine is going the rest of the celery. So first up, with the larger hopper of 2.2 liters, we're going to go ahead and load up the celery in the Hurom H80. The Hurom H80 has the largest hopper of any Hurom home juicer. Let's see if we could fit all this celery. All right, even with the largest hopper, looks like we're not going to be able to fit all the celery today. They do have a max fill line, which I have exceeded a little bit, and you definitely don't want to do that. Can give you issues, but looks like we got everything fit in there fairly well, and everything's clipped down. Next up, let's go ahead and load up the Slowstar AI. Once again, the hopper is smaller. I expect to maybe only be able to fit about half of this celery in there, and because of the more narrow shape, it is a bit more difficult to fill up without spilling. All right, guys, so despite having a little bit smaller hopper, I was able to fit almost as much celery, so this is quite interesting, as the Hurom H80. Let's go ahead next up and turn this machine on, and once again, this has a celery button. It's been optimized for juicing celery, so let's go ahead and press that. So we're ready to juice celery, and we're ready to juice in the Hurom H80. So all we'll have to do is press the on button here and press the start button here, but first we're gonna go ahead, press the start button on the stopwatch, and 1, 2, 3, go. All right, so we are juicing now in both machines, and as the juice goes down, or the produce goes down the hopper, I will go ahead and then put more produce in as needed. All right. All right, so in order to save you guys some time, we're gonna go ahead and speed this part of the video up. We'll come back at you when one of the juicers is done juicing. All right, guys, so the Hurom H80 finished first at about, I don't know, I'd say 3 minutes and 15-second mark. The last piece of produce went in, and then the final drips are coming out. That being said, the Slowstar AI is still running. Once again, it's running at a lower RPM, so it is still juicing. And so I guess we're going to go ahead and come back at you when the Slowstar AI is done to see how long it actually took to juice. All right, guys, the last celery went into the Slowstar AI juicer. The hopper is empty, still kind of running. You could hear some produce being ground up, and the juice is still dropping out. I'll call that like maybe 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So it took about 1 minute longer to juice in the Slowstar AI than the Hurom H80 that kicked out the produce much faster. So you may think, John, that took longer, that's not as good. Well, here's the thing, guys. When this process is running, you don't need to sit here and babysit it. You could go off in your house, go out to your garden, do something else, right, while this is running. You don't need to sit here and monitor it. So an extra minute when this is running, unless you're late for work and every minute counts, right? You know, then I don't think the run time is an issue. What is more of an issue is the cleaning time. You go ahead and stop this because now that I'm done with this, it's going to take me literally 80 to 90 seconds to clean this one versus, you know, 4 to 5 minutes to clean the Hurom H80. So overall, although the juicing time was 1 minute more, you're going to save more time with the Slowstar AI because its cleaning is that much quicker as well. All right, guys, so the Slowstar AI made 25 milliliters more of juice than the Hurom H80. You know, is this remarkable? I mean, it's not super remarkable. Yes, it did make more. Does that mean this is an instantly better juicer? Not necessarily, right? One of the things they say about the easy clean machines, because it is easier to clean, they say one of the downsides is it puts more pulp in your juice. And in most cases, I do find that to be true. And that being said, the pulp in the juice may artificially inflate the juice. This is why I like to do a numerical yield test in ounces or milliliters instead of a weight test, because weight tests, that'll also not just check for the juice, but it also check for the fine particulate in the juice, and that may be misleading because if there's more fine particulate or pulp in the juice, that'll cause the weight to increase as well. And I know some reviewers out there, unfortunately, do weight tests, which unless you're straining the juice to the same exact strainer, you know, is not really a fair comparison. You know, so in this case, the AI did make a little bit more juice, but, you know, it also put pulp in the juice, as did the H80. So the next step is we're going to go ahead and use the exact same sieve to basically remove the pulp out of both juices to see which juicer actually made more juice, all else being equal, as well as we'll be basically weighing out the pulp to see how much pulp was put in to the actual juice, okay? So first, let's go ahead and strain out the celery juice made in the Slowstar AI. And once again, guys, every different produce item, depending on the different kind of juicer you're using, will make more or less pulp. So for example, celery may put less pulp in there than, say, juicing the same equivalent amount of carrots, right? Due to the texture of the carrots, it's kind of more gritty. That may put more pulp in to the juice overall than, say, celery that has, you know, more long fibrous strands. All right, so we got that filtered out pretty good. Next up, let's go ahead and filter out the Hurom H80 juice. Definitely I'm seeing less pulp in the Hurom H80 juice for sure. Oh, now finally at the bottom, we got a fair bit of pulp as well. All right, so let's go ahead and shake down both these a little bit. And let me show you guys the differences in the pulp. So you guys can see the difference in the pulp. I'm going to say there's maybe like 2 times more, maybe 2.5 times more pulp in the Slowstar AI. So next up, let's go ahead and weigh the amount of pulp put into each juice. All right, guys, so first up, let's go ahead and weigh the pulp put into the Slowstar AI. We got the scale teared out at 0, and it looks like we got 22.4 grams of juice put into the Slowstar AI juice. Next up, let's go ahead and tear this back out to 0. Let's go ahead and see how much pulp the H80 put in. Once again, 22.4 is the baseline compared to 10. So it's approximately 2 times more pulp in the Slowstar AI. That being said, most Americans and people around the world are deficient in fiber. I'm not going to say to drink juice for your fiber because we're removing most of the insoluble fiber. We are keeping the soluble fiber. But when you drink the fiber that's put in to the juice from the Slowstar AI, you're getting additional fiber in your diet, which I believe is a good thing. Published studies show extra fiber is a good thing. And don't think, oh, just a little bit of fiber in the juice is going to wreck the juice and now I'm no longer going to get the benefits of the juice. The fact of the matter is, you know, the majority of the nutrition in the juice has been basically broken open and separated from the hard cell walls that capture that nutrition. So just adding a little bit of fiber, in my opinion, is only a good thing. And so not straining your juice, to me, is the best course of action. And actually, we want more fiber instead of less fiber. This is the inside of fiber in our juices. That being said, if you don't like the fiber due to a texture thing, all you gotta do is use a sieve to catch the juice and run it through a sieve before it goes into your collection cup. That'll basically solve the issue and give you cleaner juice, much like a screen juicer would, but still you're gonna save significant amounts of time on the cleaning time. Once again, 80 to 90 seconds of cleaning versus 4 to 5 minutes of cleaning. Now, of course, we need to check the yield again, because once we remove some of the pulp, we want to see which juice now made more yield, right? Comparing apples to apples, because now these are both with the insoluble fiber removed that was put into the juice. All right, guys, let's go ahead and now do a close-up on the strain yield. Once again, over on the Hurom H80, looks like we got a little bit under 800 milliliters. I'll call that maybe 790 milliliters. And then going over to Slowstar AI, looks like we got a little bit above 800, maybe 805 milliliters of juice. So yeah, comparing side by side, guys, even after straining, the Slowstar AI screenless technology beat out the traditional screen-based juicer. All right, guys, so you just saw that even after straining, before and after straining, the Slowstar AI made more juice than the Hurom H80. The Hurom H80 is the flagship model for Hurom. That is their screen-based design. Of course, Hurom has their flagship H400, which is their screenless design that I will be testing soon against the Slowstar AI. So make sure you click that subscribe button right down below and click the bell so you get notified when that video comes out. That being said, in my previous test of the Hurom H400, the H70 beat the H400. So what you really want to do is you want to watch my comparison between the Slowstar AI and the H70, which are my two favorite juicers for 2026. A little bit each for different reasons. Links down below for that video so you guys could learn why I like one over the other. All right, guys, so going over the result, to me, I'm not super surprised, because I've seen in my testing over the years that now, once again, the screenless design technology that saves you more time cleaning, right? That you'll be more compliant with juicing, because now, when you're done, now, oh man, I gotta clean the juicer and scrub it out and all this stuff. You literally just spray this down. Nothing could be simpler, right? This is taking away the impediments of juicing. This means that juicing will be the absolute easiest, because not only do you have the hopper, but now you have the easy clean technology. You also have the lower RPM with the better squeezing, and you actually will make more juice in many cases that I've tested against screen designs, right? The screen design is kind of at the pinnacle, right? It's gotten to the best of where it could be. I haven't seen it getting any better lately, right? Meanwhile, the screenless design has kind of gotten there, and maybe it's the same or a bit more yield, but once again, throwing it over the edge is the easy clean design. I guess the other thing I want to do now is look at the pulps. One of the things I didn't mention about the Slowstar AI that I don't like a whole lot is the low catch spouts, right? On the H80, I could use this big, large pitcher I got at IKEA to catch the juice. I can't use this same pitcher, right, over on the Slowstar AI. The spout comes out too low, right? This is just simply too tall, so I have to use a different catch cup. That being said, I am aware there are some 8-cup glass catch cups that I'm still trying to find, because they're not easily accessible and they seem to be quite expensive. So stay tuned for that, because I really like to juice into 2-liter catch cups instead of pretty much the 1 liters that I have been using. But if we look at these pulps, I mean, these pulps look fairly similar. They're both a very light color. If I had to say one was darker, maybe the H80 pulp is a bit darker. If I pick these pulps up, I mean, I could squeeze it. There's some juice in there. I could take this and squeeze it. There's some juice in there as well. I mean, the pulps are very similar. It seems like the juicers did a very similar job in grinding up in this instance, but based on the yields, it looked like the H80 was a little bit more efficient, not a ton more efficient. Once again, guys, proving that if you already have a screen design juicer, right, and you use it, you enjoy it, you like to clean it, right, and there's no impediments for you of not using it, right, stick with it. Because if you got a Hurom juicer, it's going to perform similar to this, and you're good to go, right? There's no reason to upgrade for a measly 15 milliliters of juice more after straining, or what was it, 25 milliliters more juice before straining, right? But if you guys have not yet bought a juicer, right, I'm going to tell you guys, don't make the mistake, right? This is me coming from 31 years of juicing experience, owning my business for over 25 years, right? Don't make this mistake of buying a screen juicer that, in my opinion, is outdated technology, when the screenless machines are here to stay. They can even make more yield, and once again, have the easy cleaning as the one-up on the other machines. You know, in this test, of course, the Slowstar did take 1 more minute to juice, but easily that time is going to be saved with the cleaning. I guess the last thing I want to do is we're just going to go ahead and taste tests each of the juices for you. This is the Slowstar AI celery juice. Wow, that's actually pretty good. I taste some kind of sweetness in there. I mean, I didn't add anything to it, but this celery seems to be a bit sweet. Next up, let's go ahead and taste the H80. I mean, very similar taste. What I'll tell you guys, I got to taste this one more time to tell you guys, to make sure this is legit, what I'm tasting. Yeah, it is. All right, so what I'll tell you guys is, I believe, personally, right, just through subjective, not objective, right, that the H80, in this case, oxidize the juice a bit more. Why would I say this? Because when I drink this juice, it's basically, I get like kind of sweet tones. It's not like sweet like an apple juice, but it's sweet. It's not like, I mean, some celery tastes nasty. This celery was really mild celery. It tastes a tad bit sweet. And with like, after I got the sweet tones, it just kind of stayed. Whereas when I drank this, I got sweet tones, but at the end, I got some bitter tones, right? To me, that's some of the polyphenol oxidase due to the oxygen reacting. This is what I believe to be true. I'm not going to say this will be your experience, but, you know, based on my experience, and also, of course, I've used the Slowstar AI for my personal juicing a lot lately, even though I know it does take me longer to process all my juice because I could be done faster, especially when I'm juicing large volumes. You know, I just see that it does tend to put a little bit less oxygen in the juice and grinds a little bit better. So yeah, that's what I'm telling you guys, right? The juice, to me, out of the Slowstar AI tastes a bit better. Once again, this is completely subjective, whereas objective specs were specifically, this machine made more juice, right? This did take 1 minute longer, and this did put about 2 times more pulp, but also objectively, this is going to take me at least, you know, 3 times less time to clean than the Hurom H80. So you got to ask yourself in the end, right, which juicer will you be more likely to use, right, at your home? A juicer that made a celery juice that tasted better, that made a bit more juice, right, that is easier to clean, or, you know, you could spend $150 more on the Hurom H80 just to say, hey, I got the flagship Hurom model that didn't make as much juice, that takes longer to clean. Once again, you know, the H80 is the top screen-based juicer of this style, right? Link down below to the H80 unboxing where I go over all the features, and it has some amazing features. That being said, right, I'm just for, these days, the screenless design. I've seen the technology emerge to a point where I believe it is actually even better now than screen-based technology, and that's what I want you guys to know, and that's why I made this episode for you, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. So at the end of this episode, I have to declare the winner, because I'm looking forward to the cleaning as well as the more yield, is the Slowstar AI. And right now, guys, between July 26th and August 1st, with the coupon code DJ, you could save $120 off the Slowstar AI, right? This will bring the price down to under $480. If you missed the $120 off promotion, you could still use that coupon code DJ for $60 off the Slowstar AI. That will get you juicing more because it is easier to clean. It also makes a very high quality juice due to the variable speed DC motor that runs as low as 32 RPMs, as well as a longer run on the auger to get produce ground up even further. Once again, use that coupon code DJ at Tribest.com. Links down below so you guys could get that discount. That being said, if you guys are more traditional and want the best Hurom model with the juicing screen with the latest updates, make sure you guys use the coupon code FITCLEAN at Hurom.com. That it will get you guys the lowest price publicly available on the Hurom H80 or any other Hurom juicer for that matter. And when you guys use those coupon codes, right, you guys will be helping me out because they will share with me a small part of the sale so I can continue to make these educational videos where I basically show you guys the truth about what is happening. You know, there are so many videos online about juicers that basically cut it down to 5 minutes, and they don't show you the whole process, and you kind of wonder, are they doing any fancy editing to make one juicer look better than the other? Or maybe they're just showing you one juicer and they're not comparing it to any other juicers. I have the most comparisons here on YouTube so you guys could watch them all and find out the best juicer for you. I don't really care what juicer you buy. Of course, I have my preferences. I'm very highly opinionated with juicers because that is my specialty. That is where my expertise lies, and I juice freaking almost every day of my life and drink juice as well. So it's very important to me that I use the best machine, and currently I'm still testing the Slowstar AI in my home, and I'm looking like I'm liking it a lot, but of course there's still some things that I'm trying to work out as well. So yeah, thank you for those of you guys that will use my coupon codes, and I don't want you guys to miss out if you guys are looking to buy a juicer. The Slowstar AI right now, $120 off is the most you guys are going to save on it, and it makes it an incredible deal for an incredible performing juicer that'll save you guys time cleaning and make a very high quality juice. If you guys enjoyed this episode today, please be sure to give this a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this with other people that are considering buying a juicer, that they have the best information to make the most informed decision. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new and upcoming episodes. I've coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up, what you'll be learning, what new juicers I'll be boxing or comparing against each other so you guys can find the best machine for you. Also, make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 900 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about the different juicers that allow you to juice your produce and process other fruits and vegetables in the best ways possible to maintain the most nutrition so that you guys could be as healthy as possible. I'll put links down below to my favorite episodes I've made in the past with the Hurom H80, especially comparing the Hurom H80 to the H70, as well as some of the other videos I've made with the Slowstar AI, comparing it to the Hurom H70, as well as the Kuvings Auto 10, and juicing many different items in the AI to share with you guys how it works specifically. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.